And we're live. Good morning. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Coffee number 2. A student, my very first student, asked me about some really saucy chords, so I put together some things that I like very much. I just graduated Berkeley, 2005. I just graduated Berkeley, and I was working at the local guitar store like 1 or 2 days a week or something, just staring out the window the whole time. Anyway, this kid walks in, he's 9, and he becomes my first student. And he comes back a week later. I don't remember how that first lesson went. Comes back a week later with a new guitar case. I'm like, that's interesting. Gibson guitar case. And he's like in tears. He's in tears. And I'm like, oh my God, what happened? Oh, he broke his guitar. I'm like, oh, it's probably like a string. He probably broke a string. Brand new signed Gibson Les Paul Studio Green Day. What's the Green Day guy's name? Oh my goodness, the singer from Green Day, Billy Joe Armstrong, signed by him. The headstock completely broken off. You know, your typical, you leave the Les Paul on the stand, you knock it over, and the headstock breaks completely off. So that happened. So he had the guitar for 1 day before he broke the headstock right off. I felt really badly for him, but what are you gonna do? Only child, right? Spoiled only child getting a Gibson Les Paul after playing for 4 days. But, you know, that's cool. Someone has to do it. Someone has to live that life. So, there's a great quote I can't really remember. I really hated my time there, but there's a great, because I thought I was above like graduating Berklee College of Music and teaching at a guitar store. But there's a great quote about teaching that I can't remember, and it goes something like, if you're interested in something, read about it. If you want to develop that more, do it. And if you want to master something, teach it. And the takeaway there is really, if you have to wrap your mind around something and explain it to different types of learning, you know, audio, kinetic, visual learners, people with different experience levels, people of different ages and backgrounds, that you will like reinforce it for yourself in a bunch of different ways. And that absolutely happened. Anyway, let's look at some of these progressions. So we've got Small Worlds by Mac Miller. Very cool. You can tell a pianist wrote that one. Jazz Funk Example by Simon Pratt on jazzguitar.be, which is a Belgian, really cool guitar blog. Bad Intentions, Niykee Heaton. Cool. Best Part by Daniel Caesar featuring H.E.R. That one's really interesting. And then Electric Relaxation by Tribe Called Quest, which is classic. Let's check some of these out. Can we hear this? Okay, so Small Worlds by Mac Miller. Very cool. So in essence, F major, G minor, and then this crazy C7 chord with a bunch of stuff on it. C7, flat 9, 13 over E. And you can tell a pianist wrote it. I mean, first of all, a pianist is, you know, playing this on the recordings and live, but you can kind of get a sense of how they're treating the chords, that it's not some like guitar player derivative. And kind of the piano culture is to be cute about things and always do different things with them. You're cute about chords and like always reinterpreting chords. So when you see a chord name, it's like C7 flat 9 13 over E. C7 9 over E. Kind of get a sense of that. Let's keep going. That one's great. I love that. You know a chord progression is great if you can have an entire like 4-minute hip hop song and you don't get tired of the chord progression at all. You just want more and more and more of it. And notice the variation. Like, how many bars is that? Yes, 4 bars, but F twice, then your 2/5. Then it repeats and it goes to 2 early. It stays on 2, which is kind of, it's a little disorienting rhythmically, because we want things to be like, here's your bar of 1 chord and here's your bar with 2 chords in it. and when the chord changes in like a weak beat, I guess, or just like in not a common place, or if it stays unusually long, it's a little bit disorienting. So it takes it away from sounding too basic. If it were just this the whole time, like that would be boring the whole time. But the fact that you have a little not just variation on the chord voicing, but a little variation on where that chord is coming, and it comes early and it stays later. Cool. This next example, this is a great lesson. I was looking up like funk progressions, and I came upon like jazz funk progressions. It's pretty. I've linked this on social media, but he's playing over this chord, which we'll play. So, jazz chord progression number 8 or whatever. Cool. So what's that? Okay. A little bit off the reservation there. So it's 1 E minor, keep E minor, 4 minor, so 1 minor, 4 minor, then 5 is major, more specifically dominant, even more specifically altered. And he plays some cool licks over that. That whole stuff thing. But 1, 1, 4, 5, 7, 5, 7 altered, or 5, 7 flat 9 flat 13, which I guess you could also say is sharp 5, but whatever. So in jazz parlance, your B7 in jazz parlance, an altered chord is all of your tensions altered. In as we'll see later with electric relaxation, in pop music, it's kind of like whatever you feel like altered. I check Wikipedia for that, but so I've read. Anyway, keep going. I mean, you'll see altered chords a bit. Anyway, whatever. Let's move beyond that one. That whole lesson that he has there is great. I suggest you check that out. Okay, Niykee Heaton, Bad Intentions. So cool. It's just very simple chord progression. Nothing is outside of the key like the previous 2 chord progressions. It's all diatonic. But okay, E minor, hammer on tension 11, 5 minor, flat 7 with your typical like Jimi Hendrix inversion thing. I'm sure other people, I mean, since him, there's another great quote that the mark of greatness is everything before you seems dated and everything after you bears your mark. And I mean, God, there's no better example of that in guitar land than Jimi Hendrix. But Hendrix did this all the time. Like, here's your bar chord, your major bar chord. Then he like hammers on this. First inversion thing. So root position, first inversion, but we're up here, and notice how like throaty it is compared to that string set. It's called timbre, T-A-M-B-R-E with a little on it. Okay. Anyway, so 1 minor with a little saucy tension, 5 minor, flat 7 major. With your Hendrix thing, and then let's do it again. Flat 3 major, relative major, but interestingly, he or she, I don't know if Niykee played this or not, but it's not that. It's not just straight up the arpeggio. Like the easier or more obvious thing to do would be, but that's kind of on the nose or whatever. It's which is 1 5 7 5 7 1, as opposed to, it's just. So I guess that chord is technically G major 7 sus2. No, just G major 7 no third. Oh, I oops. That's I mislabeled that. I'm sure I'll be hearing about that from the community, the greater community of guitar nerds. Actually, I'm like in this guitar land, I guess, this guitar community, and I wonder if like it's just the guitar musician community that is a bunch of like snarky, insecure, bitter people, or if that's just like everyone. It's probably just everyone. Okay, so that one's cool. Simple. Again, it's a four chord thing with little variation, and it loops forever, and it's awesome. Video is cool. What can I say about this? So notice the embellishments on it, though. Like, this is a classic embellishment. You kind of have to know those if you're playing like neo soul and hip hop guitar, which is like a watered down, greasy jazz guitar, right? You have to be able to see those hammering on those tensions. Then it just rests. D. Again, that's a must-know embellishment, harmonic embellishment. And then like a slightly unique arpeggiating of that G major 7 chord. Onwards. So it's G major 7 no third, not G major 7 sus2. Must have wanted to get this done. No 3. Okay. I'll update that. This will be posted. I should probably post it now. Let's post it now so that you can all see what's happening with this. Trigger fingers turn into Twitter fingers. Let's call this cool. Chords coming right at you. That's going to be on Twitter. Show your work now. Saucy chord progressions 2021. Boom. Safari really sucks, doesn't it? Okay, well, it did the job because it's up. Onwards. Best part. Daniel Caesar, who I'd never heard of, and featuring H.E.R. She played, I don't know what her real name is, but she played the national anthem or something on at the Super Bowl. And it was a really unique rendition. Like, there's some interesting chord choices there, but it was really pretty, and she did a good job. What else about that I want to say? Like, very jazz influenced, and a lot of like, I mean, the best way to get to like learn this stuff is to just learn a bunch of tunes. The best way to get some kind of clue about these kind of cool chords is just learn dozens or hundreds of tunes, and then just pay attention. Basically, that's it. And if you want to test that, the tried and true way is like learn songs that you think sound good, analyze them, figure out why they sound good, then transpose the chord progressions to other keys. We're talking about how to embellish this, like the Hendrix thing, arpeggiating, tensions. So 3 different ways to make a chord progression sound more interesting. Have all those on lockdown. If you have questions, let me know, but that's like, it's not rocket science here. You learn a bunch of tunes, you analyze them, you transpose them, and you do that enough, and you get a clue about the patterns. And if you understand like what tensions to add and what embellishments are like tried and true, and you own those in different keys and different tonalities, that's it. Of course, easier said than done, but that's basically it. All right, best part, Daniel Caesar featuring H.E.R. So cool, so pretty. Another 4 chord thing that's just like perfect and oozes cool. So in like kind of poppy boring white bread land, your most common chord progression is 1, 5, 6, 4, or some combination thereof. And this is close to that, but it's not that. Notice there's no variation. There's no like embellishing of the chords, really. Well, tension 13 there. Okay, fine, but little embellishment of the chords. So D major is 1. Then it goes to A minor 7, which is not in the key, so a borrowed chord. A minor 7, borrowed from D minor. Notice how like you could say it's borrowed from Mixolydian too. It doesn't really matter. So nice. 4. Then what's going to happen? It's going to go up. It is. So nice. So 1, 5 minor, 4 major, flat 6, major 7, which is another borrowed chord. So your first and third chord are in the key of D major. Then your second and fourth chord are, borrowed from, let's just say, the relative minor. So it doesn't take a lot. So it's basically 1, 5, 4, and flat 6. If this were like your most standard thing, it would be 1, 5, 4, 6, which would be that's kind of boring. Or very boring. Hey. All right, well, what if we were to make those all 7th chords? Okay. That's still kind of boring. Maybe add tensions to them. That still sucks. So changing those 2 chords and to basically, I mean, yeah, the simplest way to put it is just you're borrowing those from relative minor. This one should be major and it's minor. Notice how that softens it. As an aside, if you're coming up with something and you have a minor chord and it just sounds too despondent, make it minor 7 and it will soften it a bit. So notice if I just play that second chord as minor. It's subtle, but it's different, It's like cooler, jazzy cooly. As opposed to. Ugh. One note different. And why is that? I mean, probably if you're looking at A minor 7, the meat of it, flat 7, flat 3, 5, that's a major triad. So if you have basically a C major triad within this A minor chord, it obscures the fact that it's a minor chord, basically. So that's a little takeaway. Again, how did I learn that? From transcribing like hundreds of songs for people. Anyway, cool. What else about that? 13. Oh yeah, about this is cool. 13 on that chord, B flat, becomes like effectively sus4 on D. So this is your resolution. If you look at the note on top, it's sort of above or below above approach. It's great, classic. And when I hear stuff like this, I wonder, I forget what song it is, but this is essentially a copy of an older song. Oh, I know what it is. It's a copy of a Lenny Kravitz tune, and it's a copy of an older song. I can't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter. But when I hear chord progressions like all of these, I wonder, is this person just like got soul and they play a lot and they're just grabbing for things and they come up with something that's cool, or are they total music nerds? I don't know. Again, it doesn't matter, really. You know which category I fall into, I guess. Okay. And then finally, absolute classic and the most bizarre of all these, Electric Relaxation, Tribe Called Quest. I don't know. It wasn't Ron Carter who played bass. I knew. I looked it up. I forgot. But what samples he used, I don't know. We could go on who sampled it, whosampled.com, and that would be cool. But it doesn't matter, I guess, basically. But here it is. So cool. And that's like no variation, no embellishment there whatsoever, because the chords are weird enough, I guess. I don't know. Actually, a student of mine who had perfect pitch transcribed that like 10 years ago on the spot in like 10 seconds. Yeah, there are problems with perfect pitch, which we'll talk about, I suppose, but there are like glaring problems with having perfect pitch as a guitar player in particular, that no one that I've seen has avoided. If you're a guitarist and you have perfect pitch and you're learning, there are things that like you have to be held to a standard. The basic problem is because you can hear anything and figure it out, you don't memorize anything. Okay, fine, but when you're playing with people, you don't have time to figure out what a 9 chord is. You have to have the shape memorized. Like music, it keeps going. It's an art form that unfolds throughout this dimension of time. You can't be like, got it. You have to have the shape down. And the flip side is that just regular students, their ears might not be developed enough at what? Like test. Is this even working? Yeah, it's okay. Your ears might not be developed enough at like 2 years of playing to really hear that something's a 9 dominant 7/9 chord, but they identify strongly with the shape. And then, since the guitar is such a weird layout, they understand the shape, but they don't really understand the layout. And then it's not like looking at the piano. So there's lead to other problems. Nothing but challenges. So let's talk about those. Electric Relaxation. It's strange. So let's say it's in B, right? B major. Then it goes to, it's strange, like B major to A7 sus4 to A major 7 over E to G sharp. Oh shit, I made a mistake on that one too. I was on a Zoom call when I wrote this. I was so over it. Okay, so B major 7, 1. Then A sharp 7 sus4. Then G sharp, second version, G sharp major over D sharp, and then G sharp. And then F sharp major 7 sus2, F sharp major sus2 to E major 7 sus2. So 1, then like a 5/7 of 3, I guess, to like 6, but it's a major 7 chord, and then 5, 4. So these are a bunch of what I mentioned earlier, just a bunch of altered chords. 1, 5/7 of something that doesn't go there. 6, but it's a major 7, so that's altered, you could say. And then 5 sus2 to 4 major 7 sus2. So yeah, it's just bizarre. But it's cool. It's classic. That's like a must-know, I feel like. Not all these are must-know songs, but that one is. And I play a lot of these just for the hell of it, just noodling. I play a lot of these. And you should too. So I guess I'll fix all these mistakes on here. It's good. It's good to flesh it out. Also, yes, it's called flesh it out, not flush it out. You flush things down the toilet. You flush ideas out. Okay, so this is G sharp major 7 over D sharp to G sharp major 7, and then this is. I thought I made another mistake there. No, that's it. Good. All right. So let me know if you have any questions. This will be up there. It's up there now on Twitter, and I will correct that. And have a lovely day.